Vasudevaya and then start speaking about Srila Jiva Goswami. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narouttamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Govinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Gam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Vandete Kripantam Shikam Ramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya. So, welcome and thank you everyone for being here. Today is the auspicious day in of the disappearance of Srila Jiva Goswami. So I've been instructed to speak on Srila Jiva Goswami. And before I speak about Jiva Goswami, I just wanted to share some thoughts about like the importance of observing these days. It is said for an acharya especially, the disappearance day is considered even more potent. In the sense there is no difference, but in general for the mood, it is considered that disappearance days are considered more important than the appearance days itself, because when they appeared in the world did not know how great they were actually and what is their contribution to the world. It was not very evident when they appeared, but on the day they disappeared, the world really actually missed them, and they had contributed to the world, and it was very evident who they are on those days. When they disappeared, their glory was fully manifest. By then, their contribution was very clear. So the disappearance day is considered even more glorious for a Vaishnava in that sense. And also from the perspective of the followers, those are the days which evokes a special kind of a feeling of separation. Yes, the appearance day does, but a disappearance day very clearly evokes an mood of separation. So that is why we also sing the special bhajan Jaya Anilo Premadana on these days of separation, because you can see that particular bhajan Jaya Anilo Premadana was written by Narottam Das Thakur on the event of the passing of his very dear friend Srinivasacharya. It was specifically written in separation from Srinivasacharya, and that's why we will see Jaya Anilo Premadana Kana will Acharya Thakur, the word will come, because his friend Srinivas had passed. So in that separation he wrote, he says, I want to jump into fire, I cannot, I want to bang my head on the stone, and I want to jump into fire. This is the kind of void that he felt in the absence of his friend Srinivasacharya. And in that mood, he wrote that bhajan. And it is also considered generally for a sadhaka an offense to lament in general. Like the word offense is very heavy. In a general sense, it is not considered very characteristic of a sadhaka to cry and lament on any material loss. It is generally considered not very sober for a practicing sadhaka to lose themselves and cry for the sake of any material loss. However, if a disciple does not actually cry when a guru or an acharya passes, it is considered an offense, because their heart is hasn't softened yet to evoke the feelings of separation that they are not even actually worrying about, or like they are not caring about in that sense. It may not be, the externals can be different, personalities may cry, they may not, but at least the feeling of really missing them, like feeling that separation from them, their contributions, needs to be awakened in the heart of a sadhaka, especially on the days of disappearance, on the occasion of disappearance. A disciple is, it is okay, or it is recommended for a disciple to actually cry, even like externally. Otherwise, it is considered uncharacteristics of the sadhaka. But for the guru, it is recommended actually to be able to show that love through externally also. These are all, I know these are all like random, but I think these are all like kind of thoughts that are coming to my head, inspired like in the sense in relation to this topic of disappearance of the acharyas. And to be very specific about Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Prabhupada says, when he speaks about the 6 Goswamis, he says, without the mercy of the 6 Goswamis, or praying to the 6 Goswamis, or realizing the importance of 6 Goswamis in the practice of Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, a person may take shelter of Krishna, but it will be like mostly, it won't be easy for them to actually go ahead in the path of bhakti without the mercy and the contribution of the 6 Goswamis. And Srila Prabhupada gives this analogy that when a person tries to practice bhakti without the support of an acharya, it is like crying in the wilderness, or crying, especially he uses crying in the desert, because desert is usually considered desolate, and crying there is not going to attract any kind of help. Or rather, it would attract like wolves or something like that. So crying in the desert is not considered very fruitful. And he says, without the help of an acharya, practice of bhakti would be like very difficult for a conditioned soul, without the mercy of the acharya. And the Srimad Bhagavatam says in the canto 10, where the demigods pray to the Supreme Lord in the womb of Mother Devaki, the demigods actually say that in this world, great acharyas or great teachers come for the sake of leaving behind a path to actually cross over the ocean of material existence. The process that they leave behind is considered like a boat. Like they actually come from the spiritual world in a boat, and when they leave behind the boat for others to cross that ocean. Like Srila Prabhupada's recommendation of chanting 16 rounds and following the 4 regulative principles is that boat actually that he has left mercifully in this world for us to actually take shelter of. And through that very process, we could actually rise above the 3 modes and cross over the material ocean. So if there is anything that an acharya actually leaves their mercy, that mercy is in that particular boat that they are leaving, that instruction, that methodology that they have given. So for Gaudiya Vaishnavism, there was hardly any methodology before the 6 Goswamis. So any of the methodology in practicing bhakti that we have in terms of the Gaudiya Vaishnava flavor of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, all of these processes that the Gaudiya Vaishnava system has, that particular thing is left by the 6 Goswamis. And Srila Jiva Goswami specifically worked very hard to create a strong philosophical basis. It's not that he created, he just like kind of excavated what is already in the scriptures. Because with the plain eyes, we cannot see in the like archaeology, everything is there before our eyes, but we cannot really understand what is what. So similarly, the scriptures are vast and the imports are very deep. So it requires a technical person to actually say, oh, here is what is here, this particular theology is here, and this is how it is logical, this is how it is authorized, this is how it is supported, and this is how it works. So he actually even excavated the Bhagavatam itself. He wrote the Bhagavata Sandarbhas, basically just presenting the Bhagavat in a very systematic way, bringing out the essence of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy from those very pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, which otherwise, for untrained eyes, will not be very evident. And he also brought all kinds of support within the Vedic literature, whatever is available, that supports or that actually presents the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy of Achintya Veda, Veda Tattva, and the flavor of devotion to Radha and Krishna, following in the footsteps of Sri Gaur and Nityananda. So these are the contributions of the Acharyas, that the very methodology, like it's the foundation on which we sit and practice bhakti, is given by these Vaishnavas. So there won't be any Gaudiya Vaishnavism if there were no 6 Goswamis. Even though Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he did not create a theological system for the practice. He wrote those 8 verses, those amazing Shikshashtakam verses. However, in this world, it won't be surprising if an incarnation of the Supreme Lord arrived, or the Supreme Lord himself arrived, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and just gave 8 verses, and then the world forgot about it. We won't be surprised if that happens, because that is the nature of the material world. Because Radhakund and Shyamkund was covered before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Like how in this world, like this is Sri Vrindavan Dham, and people who lived there didn't know about Radhakund and Shyamkund and all these other holy places, because that is the nature of the material world. So the Supreme Lord comes and then like that is the reason that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives this instruction to the 6 Goswamis. So all of them go to Vrindavan, establish, especially he gives these 5 instructions to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, specifically to Rupa Goswami. He says, both of you brothers, go to Vrindavan, excavate the holy places, write scriptures, establish standards, become sincere examples to how a devotee should actually live, and propagate this. So specifically, he gave Rupa Goswami to write and explain the phenomenon of rasa, which is the mellows of the 5, at least the primary 5 mellows of devotional service. Of course, Rupa Goswami has presented all of the others also, but specifically the 5 prominent, and then in that also Madhurya, specifically the conjugal love. That rasa he ordered Srila Rupa Goswami to take, and also he instructed Sanatana Goswami to exemplify the idea that how the Sambandha Tattva, that we all have an eternal connection with the Supreme Lord, that he through his activities and philosophy and worship, he was ordered to exemplify that. So in this way, each of the 6 Goswamis got different emphases, and they all met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally and received instructions. But if there was one special person among that, it was Sri Jiva Goswami, who actually did not personally, for that sake, meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to receive all his instructions. His guru was directly not Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His guru was Srila Rupa Goswami. So among the 6 Goswamis also, he is the servant of the servant. His whole life's mission was to serve and bring out the contributions of the other Goswamis to the rest of the Sampradaya. And he was very young because he was the nephew of Srila Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis. He was quite young compared to them, like 30 to 40 years young. So he lived longer. He kind of outlived all the other Goswamis. And there was a point when he was the only surviving Goswami in Vrindavan from those 6 Goswamis. So he took all the works, many works of Srila Rupa Goswami and the other Goswamis, and wrote commentaries to that. Because Srila Rupa Goswami's work was so condensed in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that needed a commentary again. And not just a commentary, the commentary of Rupa Goswami needed a commentary for us to actually benefit. So he wrote that also, like Vishnu Chakravarti wrote all that also. So there are many things that these Goswamis did, but it was not very easy for the public to appreciate it without the contributions of Jiva Goswami. And apart from that, he digested Srimad Bhagavatam and presented the Achintya Veda philosophy conclusively from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam in a very systematic manner. And even until today, the Banaras Hindu University in Varanasi, which is considered one of the most prestigious universities for Sanskrit and Hindu studies in India, in its Sanskrit department, it has a separate wing for studying studying the contributions of Srila Jiva Goswami. Just that one personality. There is a whole department to just study the contributions of Srila Jiva Goswami, especially his Sanskrit work. Of course, he wrote in Sanskrit, all of it. So he's considered, like Srila Prabhupada says, there was no other bigger scholar in the history of this planet than Srila Jiva Goswami. And when somebody is so intelligent, it is very challenging to say things to them without logic or explanation. Usually people with intelligence expect that things make sense. Whatever is said to them or done around them, they expect things to make sense. Here in the life of Srila Jiva Goswami, we see that he wasn't just intelligent, but he was extremely humble also. That his Guru Srila Rupa Goswami from the beginning wanted to train him in humility. That was the first training as a spiritual master he wanted to do to Jiva Goswami, because Jiva Goswami spent 10 full years in the town of Varanasi, that is Kashi, which is considered a very a town full of Mayavadis, full of impersonalists, not just impersonalist people, those who consider themselves as God. So he was in that town studying Sanskrit and studying all kinds of philosophy to be able to refute them later. He also studied all kinds of other philosophies under Madhusudan Vachaspati, a disciple of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And he stayed 10 years, not just like 1 or 2, he stayed 10 years just studying Sanskrit and all these other philosophies. And then he came to Vrindavan to take shelter of Srila Rupa Goswami. So Srila Rupa Goswami wanted to train him in humility. And there was occasions that Srila Jiva Goswami defended completely from a humble position various things. Like generally, justification is considered as intelligence in the service of false ego. Like when we justify, most of the times, we are trying to protect the false ego by rationalizing what happened or what did not happen, what we did do or did not do. We try to somehow protect the identity of our ego or who we think we are through lies or through justifications. So this is the general principle. And there was a learned scholar who was clearly he was very arrogant that he would go around, challenge other scholars, defeat them, and make them sign a particular certificate saying that he defeated them. So in that way, he was going all over the land of India, and in all directions of India, he was conquering. He would just understand, because there were also learning centers in the ancient India, like Kanchi or Varanasi or Mayapur or Gaya. These are all considered like towns of educational towns. Like I don't know in the US what towns are considered, maybe Raleigh or something like that. Like there are towns which is like university towns where it's like filled with universities. So likewise, these places like Kashi and Kanchi, they were all considered very important learning centers. So he would just go there, and his full-time engagement would be challenging all the famous scholars in that city and decimating them in argument and making them sign his Vijay Patra, the certificate. And he would go around like that. And he eventually comes to Vrindavan, for he has heard that the 6 Goswamis are very influential scholars there. So he comes here and then he challenges Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami that I've heard you are great scholars, so let us have a debate and let's see what is your philosophy, or like who is great. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they are like not at all interested in proving. Voluntarily say, you are great, you are amazing, you are intelligent, we will sign the patra and we don't want to waste time. So they just sign and they go about their life. And then he finds that Jiva Goswami is also a great scholar. He goes to him and then he says, oh Jiva, I see you're too young, but still if you really want to have a debate, I'm okay. But even your uncles who are your guru, your own guru has already got defeated and signed this. If you just want to surrender, here is the proof. But if you want to debate, I'm okay. Jiva Goswami is like, he looked at this person as if he's a lunatic. He is. And he thought like, how in the world, like you defeated Rupa Goswami? It's not possible. And then he realizes that when he sees the signatures, he realizes, yes, they probably just didn't want to waste time with this person. So he takes it upon himself and takes like 4 days. 4 or 7 different accounts say different things, but yeah, 4 days is lot for Jiva Goswami. 7 days for Jiva Goswami to actually defeat him completely, and he accepts, and then he leaves Vrindavan. And this news goes to Rupa Goswami, and when he sees Srila Jiva Goswami, he wasn't very happy. He said, why did you waste 7 days of your time in Vrindavan? This is not required. And imagine if we were in that position, we would have justified why we did that. But Rupa Goswami said, I see that you are not humble. You really have a tendency to defend. So you should just leave Vrindavan. This is not a place for one who has any false ego. Just leave this land of Vrindavan. This is not a place for anyone who is interested in defending their false ego and wants any kind of fame or anything like that. Just leave. And he does not utter a single word in defense of his action. Okay, if my guru traces a tinge of pride in me, it must be true. My guru cannot be mistaken. So he actually lives in Mathura for a year, and eventually Sanatana Goswami brings him back. And there is a second occurrence of the same thing, that there is a senior Vaishnava, Vallabhacharya. He comes and he requests, he comes to meet Rupa Goswami, and he says, I would like to do some service. So Rupa Goswami, though knowing that his manuscript is perfect, offers him the manuscript and tells him, can you edit this for me? I have written this. Would you like to edit this for me as a service, since you wanted to offer some service? And then he goes through and then says, yes, sure. And then he already finds something to edit. And then Jiva Goswami hears about it. And then he goes to Vallabhacharya and explains that what Rupa Goswami wrote is perfect if you understand it in the proper context and perspective. He explains it, and Vallabhacharya realizes, yes, absolutely, this manuscript does not need any editing. It is perfect. So he goes through it from that perspective that Jiva Goswami gave, and then he brings it back to Rupa Goswami very quickly and says, here is your manuscript. And he says, how? Oh, you finished it so quickly. He said, because there was nothing to edit. But you kind of said some things like, he said, no, Jiva Goswami explained it perfectly to me, and I totally understood your. And then Rupa Goswami realizes this guy again went around and he was defending his guru. So he calls Jiva Goswami and says, you have to go. Here is a senior Vaishnava that I just wanted to engage him, and he wanted some service despite being my senior, and I offered him something, and you went to actually explain, and it is not the right etiquette what you did. You should just leave Vrindavan. You should not be here. So again, it takes a long time for him to get back when Sanatana Goswami interferes, and then he comes back. Like, he does not even offer a single word in his defense. And it is impossible for a person with false ego. And to not feel like today we'll be filing an abuse case, if that happens, and we will probably shift to another organized spiritual organization. These people, their philosophy may be great, but they don't behave well, they didn't treat me well. I'm not saying justifying any abuse that has happened in the organization to not justify it or anything, but I'm just saying that it is not very easy for us to kind of surrender to that level. And so he was not just intelligent, but he was also extremely humble and surrendered to his guru, and presented the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy in such by supporting it, the philosophy with such beautiful literature and giving it the necessary philosophical and practical tenets that we are continuing to follow. That Srila Prabhupada always said his teachings are based on the six Goswamis. He's writing his commentary on the basis of the philosophy given by the six Goswamis, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed them but did not personally write any of these philosophies. It is to the credit of these six Goswamis, and specifically Jiva Goswami, that we have the philosophical tenet of Achintya Veda Veda Tattva soundly supported with Vedic evidence from the Shruti and the Smriti. And there are bhajans which actually glorify the Goswamis. There are multiple bhajans. There is, if you sing Hari Haraya Nama Krishna, it says there's H.I. Goshai. Because I sing, the speaking meter is not coming. H.I. Goshai Charana Vandan Jaha Hoite Vignana Shabishta Puran. It is said one has to take shelter of the six Goswamis, the lotus feet of the six Goswamis, in order to vanquish any obstacle on the path of the devotional service. And if anyone wants to remove the obstacles in their practice, they need to actually take shelter of the six Goswamis. Narottam Das Thakur says, when will I gain entrance into Vrindavan? That will happen only when I have taken shelter of the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath, and not just the in a generic sense, specifically the books that they have left behind. By reading the works that they have left behind, that is how I can actually gain entrance and the shelter of Sri Vrindavan. And we also see that Bhaktivinoda Thakur in one place says, how do I achieve surrender? I don't know what is surrender. It is not in the ability of a conditioned soul to actually practice surrender, giving up the unfavorable things, accepting the favorable things, being humble, having confidence that Krishna will protect me and he is my only maintainer. That is not possible for a conditioned soul to develop without the mercy of the Acharyas. And he clearly says that he falls at the feet of Rupa and Raghunath Goswamis with straw in his teeth and crying and begging them, please, I am fallen. Make me a better person by teaching me what is surrender. So surrender is the essence of devotion, is the ecstasy of devotion. However, a conditioned soul cannot experience the ecstasy of devotion without full surrender. To the extent surrender is manifested, to that extent ecstasy is manifested in devotional service. So that surrender is taught by the six Goswamis through their conduct and also through their literary contribution. So thank you for this opportunity to be able to share something from the life of Srila Jiva Goswami and worship him through words. So thank you again. Hare Krishna. Anyone wants to add anything? There are many pastimes. The wonderful worshipable deities of Sri Radha Damodar has connection with Srila Prabhupada. That's the very temple that Srila Prabhupada lived in Vrindavan, preparing to come to the US. That was the temple of Sri Radha Damodar, which is the worshipable deities of Srila Jiva Goswami. That's where the samadhi of his guru, Srila Rupa Goswami, was there, where Srila Prabhupada had the darshan of Rupa Goswami personally in that very courtyard of Radha Damodar temple. And we worship Radha Damodar ji for the whole month. Out of all temples, Radha Damodar receives a month of worship through the Damodar month. So they're very central, important deities of Vrindavan. So we have many pastimes. If anyone wants to add another pastime that they heard of, please feel free to do so.
Wonderful class. Thank you very much. I was wondering if you could say something, because when we hear how these great Vaishnavas made such because it seems like such a slight mistake or offense, they're banished to leave. It makes you feel like, what's the use? Like, might as well give up, because we get up in the morning, by the time we brush our teeth, we've made 50 of those. It's just, I feel like I want to just walk out the door. Feel discouraged almost, so what hope do we have?
Yeah, our hope is that Srila Prabhupada is merciful and he is accepting. And nobody has personally told us to do anything. We follow what we are instructed to. Krishna says his devotees never perish. He boldly says, Arjuna, boldly declare, my devotee never perishes. So these are great personalities who have come to set an example, which shines like a light, which acts like a, what do you call,
Beacon.
like a beacon, like a north direction for us, north star for us to actually walk towards. And even in those extreme circumstances, they maintained their integrity. And here I am, would be like breaking my integrity for the least of the reasons. So, okay, I take inspiration from that. It shouldn't be discouraging. That is again false ego. We are nobody. We are not the center. We are here to follow in their footsteps. They are inspiring us because it is also very fragile, false ego, to have inferiority complex. Yeah, it's the other side of the superiority complex. Somebody went to Srila Prabhupada and said, I am the most fallen. Prabhupada said, you are not the most anything. It's already taken. Jagai and Madhya has exemplified what is to be most fallen, and the 6 Goswamis has exemplified what it is to be most exemplary. And he said, you are not the most anything. So we are here to, even if Krishna says that you don't chant my names, a devotee's determination should be, no, I won't follow you. I will chant your names. Even if we are told not to practice bhakti, personally Krishna says, no, my guru has told, I'll continue to practice bhakti. So that should be the determination of a disciple, that we don't need to unnecessarily take extra instructions or banish ourselves. If you want to banish, then banish the tendencies which are like not helping us from coming closer to Krishna. We are supposed to work to banish them from our hearts.
Thank you.
You can turn.
I was also wondering, it seems like the responses Jiva Goswami received in those pastimes, they also were facilitating his devotion. So it seems like part of that pastime is exemplifying that we receive according to our need or to our position or whatever it may be, what will facilitate our growth in devotion. Because as we hear the details of that pastime, it really intensified Jiva Goswami's devotion even more. So similarly, whatever reactions that we receive at our level, Hanuman is lifting mountains with squirrels carrying sand. So whatever we're receiving at our level will also be arranged for us to also increase in our devotion. So when we hear it, it shouldn't be discouraging that, oh, little offense means you're out. No, it means what reaction comes to us is arranged by Guru, arranged by Krishna, arranged by the devotees, so that our devotion flourishes more so. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the idea, if that's correct.
Yeah, that is the attitude of a devotee, that whatever coming is by the mercy of Krishna, and see how it can expand our devotional consciousness.
Hare Krishna. Awesome class. Thank you so much. Really wonderful. Responding to the question that Das put forward about how we might become discouraged and feel, unworthy compared to these other devotees. Srila Prabhupada explains, part of it is to say, I'm a fallen soul. I'm not worthy, I'm not, make so many mistakes. And the other component is And how wonderful is Krishna. And even though I'm incapable and, make so many mistakes, Krishna is so wonderful. That's part of humility. If it's just, I'm falling, then that's just a part of it. And the other component is Krishna's so wonderful that he's going to help me, that he cares and is capable of, giving me some aspect of devotional service so I can contribute to Lord Chaitanya's mission. How wonderful is Krishna. Without that, it's just me, and it's important, but not complete. Yeah? You explained already, but, we're just
No, it kind of
reflecting.
illuminates it very innocent and more clearly. Anybody online?
All glories to Prabhupada.
You want to say something, Tulsi?
I was thinking of the definition of humility, I believe, by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which defines humility as one's ability to provoke or to tolerate provoking situations.
Mm.
And when you were talking about the life of Srila Jiva Goswami, so many instances show that he was very humble. Like how when you explained when he was studying, he was living in a place of Mayavadis. And as a very deep Vaishnava, one can only imagine how provoking that must be. So, everyone thinking they're God and him having the deep understanding that, we're all the servants of the servants. So, yeah, thank you so much for the beautiful class.
He's the last one there.
No.
Also, an additional information that he is the in the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna, he is Vilasa Manjari, who is 4 days short of 13 years old. So I don't know what you will do with this information, but I'm just sharing what I heard. Anybody?
Jiva Goswami was such a scholar, and the six Goswamis, they were all scholars. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a big-time scholar. What about those devotees who aren't necessarily scholarly in this life? What is there an example in our Guru Parampara of an acharya who wasn't a scholar? And what service should they take up? Taking prasadam up in the floor? Where do we fit in?
Krishna's service is absolute, and a devotee is intelligent because they know how to distinguish matter from spirit. That is the sign of intelligence. The real intelligence is to distinguish matter from spirit, because that is the only two tattva in this world. There's matter, there's spirit, and real intelligence is to be able to distinguish. So our Vaishnava is also always intelligence. It's not about the brain matter or the philosophical thing. And we see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the pastime of that South Indian Brahmana who didn't know how to study. He said, you have understood the essence because you are shedding tears, understanding the love of Krishna. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is considered as Lion Guru, great scholar, but his own spiritual master, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, the only disciple he had was Bhakti Siddhanta, but Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was illiterate by the worldly standards. He wasn't illiterate by the spiritual standards, but he was illiterate from the worldly standards. He didn't know how to read or write. And he would always come to the lectures of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, sit at the back, and would be taking pride, and he would be telling, see my Prabhu, how amazingly he is explaining the Vaishnava philosophy. So he took such happiness seeing that his disciple, he did not think, oh, I'm unworthy or anything like that, because a real Vaishnava is intelligent, because they understand they know Krishna. and Krishna is the source of all intelligence. And in as much as we have love in the heart and we are able to understand Krishna and dedicate our lives in surrender to Guru and Gauranga, the externals of what we do as services is a detail, is different for different individuals. It does not in any way stop someone from achieving prema. So the worldly standards of intelligence is not the measure in the process of achieving prema.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, there was a patron saint of France. One of the patron saints is Saint Teresa of Lisieux, and she was she entered the convent, cloistered convent, when she was 16 years old, and then I think she left her body when she was 18. She had tuberculosis, and so she wasn't a world, class preacher, and she was just a humble nun living in a closed convent where you just go in there and then stay there till you die, But she wrote this little book, and one of the things that she wrote was, not everyone is called upon to do great things for the Lord, but any one of us can with great love, because the criteria is to please Krishna. It may manifest as, erudite scholar and world-class, preacher with thousands of disciples. It may not, but any one of us can do some small thing with great love, and Krishna will be satisfied with that, right? And I heard something, Kastuba Prabhu said something yesterday. It's not really related to this, but he was relating a pastime of Jesus where this crowd came and they brought this woman, dragging this woman, and they threw her at Jesus's feet, and they said, "This is a sinful person. She has been adulterated, been adulterous, engaging in illicit sex, and she's fallen." And it says that a person like this should be stoned to death. And they all had these rocks, and they're ready to kill her. What do you think? Should we kill her? Because somebody was saying, well, Jesus said, well, if you're asking me, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. And they all looked at each other and they put their rocks down and walked away. And then he said to the girl, so who is your accuser? All right, so your sins are forgiven, which is a very interesting concept, that Krishna can forgive us, even if the worst, worst thing. And he said, now go and sin no more. So we can actually be forgiven for our sins, and let he who is without sin cast the first stone. I don't know, just the way he said it. I remember hearing that when I was just about 7 years old, and I was like, wow, that's cool. He forgave her, and he said, okay, you want to punish somebody? Are you without sin? Who are you to kill this girl? I thought that was really profound. Anyway, Gaur Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
If there are no comments from the online audience, we'll put the camera for the darshan of Sri Radhamalidhar. It's time, it's 8. And thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Jiva Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare.
Lotus feet of our spiritual master, the only way that you can attain to your service. Bow to his lotus feet in great honor. Graceful across the ocean for yourself. Attain the mercy of wish. The only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanate from this now. Attachment to the lotus feet of perfection fills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. When an ecstatic dream emanates, I can ignorance and destroy it. The Vedic scripture sings his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, friend of the poor, Lord Master. O Master, is merciful. Give us restraint in the ocean. We obey this bread all over the world. We take shelter in the ocean.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, thank you very much. We are signing off. Hare Krishna. Okay, welcome to the Afterglow. Jeffrey Eckler, where were you?
In the Maya of Christmas time.
Nice. Nice. What are your New Year's resolutions then?
My New Year's resolutions are I don't know. Is it a new year yet?
Yeah. I'm still, yeah.
I'm glad to be back. And back on schedule. It is a beautifully disruptive time of year. In a good way, but it electrifies you and electrocutes you to a degree. But very nice to be reminded of family and all of the benefits and beautiful stories that come from being in family. And that kind of, to the point earlier, that cloistered unit, is you can be very closed off from the rest of the world and spiritually beneficial. But very glad to be back with the Sangha and to hear Gaura speak this morning was kind of a beautiful foray into the new year, and reminder to lean on the acharyas and the scriptures that they've left for us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Jeffrey Prabhu. Wonderful reflection on Christmas time, New Year's. Thank you. Would anyone like to speak? Krishna Chandra, please.
Hare Krishna. So first of all, it's just so amazing. Srila Jiva Goswami is just the most amazing Sanskrit scholar, and it's just mind-blowing. And I was thinking about what you said, Ananda Bihari Prabhu, but what can we offer if we're not at that level of scholarship? And I think personally that we all have something we can offer, something unique. And it's just like in the spiritual world, how everyone has this unique service to their guru and Radha and Krishna. And I think ultimately we have something that we can offer to the movement. We have to find out what it is. Recently, I had met a young devotee. They're relatively new. And they said, well, I want to learn Mridanga, but I don't want to learn so much because I don't want to be proud. And I personally did not agree with this sentiment. I mean, on the one hand, you don't want to be too proud. You don't want to let pride get the better of you. On the other hand, I think it's important that we find what we're good at and to hone it for the service of our guru and for our fellow jivas, and we help everyone, and we can ultimately please our guru and Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna Chandra Prabhu. Yeah, we're all offerable. We are all offerable to Krishna. That is very consoling to know. Thank you for reminding us of that principle. We are all offerable. Jai. Okay. Anyone else would like to offer a comment? Throw it in the fire of this yagya of morning class? No? Okay. So with this, we're going to ask Jeffrey Eckler to say Hare Krishna in a childlike way, please, Jeffrey.
Oh boy.
Squeaky voice, maybe?
I have I have a fairly deep voice, but Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow, dear devotees. We need you. We love you. Have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna.